Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of Astra Season offense matches. This past week was a fire season, which gave me a great excuse to try something fun, and maybe a bit degenerate. Fallen Edelgard's been causing quite a stir since her release. She's an extremely powerful unit with little to no additional investment thanks to the laundry list of effects she gets from her weapon and personal skill. I decided against any Wings of Mercy or Savage Blow options and instead just let her mirror legendary Edelgard's triple action niche. She's arguably an even better candidate for it, since her weapon gives her a much more flexible enemy phase, while also letting her avoid using something like Quickened Pulse to secure her attack chain. With that said, legendary Edelgard's still an extremely powerful unit. While Aimer is a bit outclassed when it's compared directly to Twin Crest power, not denying her own follow-ups can come in really handy against some slow, bulky opponents, and Raging Storm's guaranteed follow-ups against beasts and dragons has actually gotten even more relevant over time. The combination actually makes her a really good answer to her fallen self, not to mention Seros. I also got a chance to test drive my Sigurd-buster squad a couple of times this week. Felix has done an incredible amount of work on my defense teams over the last few months, and it turns out he's a solid alternative to Hector as a far-safe candidate on offenses. Being a naturally ranged unit means he can use something other than a distant counter skill in his A slot, and the bonus cancellation from distant defense is really relevant with Sigurd handing out +6 attack to his entire team. I also went with Bonfire over a healing option, since securing knockouts is really important without a near save user on the team. I might end up changing his seal to a speed res bond though. There were a couple of points where the extra speed would have been really useful, and the extra defense went almost entirely unused. I'd also really like to get Slick Fighter for him at some point, since I think the debuff cancel would do a lot more for him than Vengeful Fighter does. Naga's build also got a bit of an update. I've turned her into a targeted Secret Hunter with Triangle Adept and Swordbreaker, which let her tank his initial hit and finish him off in the same combat. This is really important since it denies his Fatal Smoke along with any possible Wings of Mercy follow-ups from his melee allies, like Seros and Duma. And since Sigurd also tends to be the only non-mythic melee unit on the team, she doesn't really have to worry about handling anything else. Now that we've gone over the teams, let's get to the first match. So this will be a bit of an easier start to the week than last time. They brought along a walled-in setup with some pretty bulky units behind the wall. Reverse is always kind of a pain to work around too, with this sabotage panic effect. Lucina's an odd choice though, because she only really ends up benefiting Surtur out of all of the units she's in range of. Got the Thracier, Corin, who's in the season, which is fun. Bonus week Duma, and a Seros to cap things off. I'm going to need to take a few turns to set up for this, mostly just to clear a path through these structures and test the traps. But I'm not expecting this to be too hard to deal with overall.
You have my trust.
And there's the first trap. Excellent.
Yeah.
And now we start testing the rest. Oh, and there's a second one. Very good.
Why not? Over here?
What is your desire?
Your plan.
Yes.
Your plan.
Yes.
And we can move her here. We're not going to need Armored Stride active on Edelgard or
What?
the other Edelgard.
Out of my way.
I won't lose.
since everything's very close together, so we can actually just move one step at a time after every action.
With utter certainty.
Oh, I'll do it.
You have my trust.
Okay. And now we're going to open this up.
What?
Start by moving Edelgard over. Move her down here.
Close your eyes.
Dance and get
Over
Reagan
here?
all the way out of the way.
Consider it done.
Move Altina up and say go. We're also getting to dodge this panic manner, which can't
Understood.
quite hit Edelgard, and neither can Aversa because we're one hit point away from being hit by this panic. Otherwise I would have had to find a different approach. And from here,
With utter
we're going to
certainty.
smite Edelgard.
It will be
We're
done.
going to reposition Edelgard.
Yeah.
We're going to reposition Edelgard again. And our Reagan here. And now we get started.
Time to go.
Edelgards are going to be able to take all of the dragons out thanks to Kraken effectiveness and a frankly ridiculous amount of attack power. While
Yes.
Edelgard can actually one-shot this Aversa.
Your plan.
And then we just march on through.
Out of my way.
One by
Why
one.
not?
And this dance should actually let
What?
Edelgard one-shot this Lucina. Just barely.
Time to go.
While Edelgard gets to one-shot Corin through her damage reduction.
I won't lose.
And then we just wait a turn to pick up the last pot and Surtur.
Over here?
Yes.
For Surtur.
Understood.
That was a fun test drive. Let's see what we get tomorrow. This is going to be a fun one, partly because they've got a Fallen Edelgard on their own defense team. The kind of unfortunate part about this is that I think they forgot to bless their team before setting this defense, and none of their non-mythic units actually has an Anima blessing, which it costs them 10 hit points and 6 attack across the board, which really hurts. Most of their team's unmerged, except for this plus 10 Rayson, who's, even without a blessing, still really impressive. The attack speed push and bond it makes him very combat ready, honestly. He can hit pretty hard. As can this plus 10 Tibarn, along with the other plus 10 Tibarn. It's a very spooky team, I think, if you're not careful. This Pirate Tibarn specifically is just very, very strong. And even if these two don't actually get to transform, they can still get a lot of work done, even without transforming, so... Now with that said, not having the blessings does make this a lot easier to deal with.
Oh, I'll do it.
With utter certainty.
I'm going to spend the first couple of turns just checking this prep, and it is real.
Yeah.
Your plan.
And moving into position.
It will be done.
What?
Rayson's never going to actually move forward to dance, since the defense tile isn't somewhere he can dance from, and we're threatening
Close
this
your
tile in front of
eyes.
Duma, Eremiya. So
Understood.
from here, we're going to
Over here?
get
Why not?
everyone in position. And also not having a march means that they really don't threaten a large amount of space with these three,
Yes.
Consider it done.
Yes.
which lets people set up pretty close to the front. And from here, we get to start the Raging Storm combo.
What is your desire?
You have my trust. Time to go.
We'll start with Saros. And getting rid of the Quest Guard makes it a little bit easier
Understood.
to handle the Edelgard.
Crumble to ash.
And since we do make the Heavy Blade check, we do still get the Galeforce,
Your
so
plan.
we can move over and one-shot the Duma. And from here, we're going
Out
to
of
let
my way.
Fallen Edelgard take point. And since Fallen Edelgard doesn't share the same solo conditions that Legendary Edelgard does, she can still Gale Force through this pretty quickly.
Yes.
I'm going to have her
What?
move here to help block Leaf.
Close your eyes.
We can dance Edelgard forward,
Time to go.
or she can take out Tibarn. And from there, it's pretty easy to clean things up. Leaf can't get anything done while he's trapped, so
I'll do it.
Out of my way.
yep, good.
Understood.
Yes.
And there's the match. Nice clean sweep again. On to the next one. This one's a fun team to see, even though it is a little odd to see two teams back-to-back that aren't using any mythic bonuses. But this is a pretty highly invested theme team, featuring a full set of full set of 6 plus 10 awakening units. Not all of them have super premium kits, but they are all really well invested, and it's great to see something like this. This Morgan too, I really like Morgan right now. He's so good. Overall, this is it's a fun team. I'm not expecting to have too many problems dealing with it. But there are a couple of things I do need to watch out for here.
With utter certainty.
Most of them just involve making sure I actually handle Morgan and Chrome well.
Over here?
They are red, which makes it a little
Close
trickier
your
for
eyes.
Legendary Edelgard to handle them.
Out of my way.
What is your desire?
But on the other hand, a boxed-in setup is... well, it always makes things a lot easier to deal with.
It will be done. I won't
Oops.
lose.
You have my trust.
Here,
Yeah.
Reagan can break this and move down.
Yes.
Move Fallen Edelgard here. And end turn again. I don't know which one of these bolt traps is real. I think it's this one, but I shouldn't even have to worry about taking that chance, so...
Time to go.
Why not? Yes.
Consider it done. Your
So we'll
plan.
start by having Edelgard carve her way through Cynthia. And
Understood.
then she won't... Oh, she does actually one-shot Morgan. Interesting. Oh, I was forgetting about the infantry school. That's right. I thought Morgan was going to survive that.
What?
That's okay, though. Well, an Edelgard is just barely able to deal with Robin on her own.
Out of my way.
And we can't quite one-shot Crom, but that's alright, because Legendary Edelgard can handle it from there.
Your plan.
And we end up having an extraction to work with. So, we'll just park Fatal Guard over here, and let her enemy vice versa. And from here, well, Pen is boxed in, so there's just really not much she can do.
With utter certainty.
But we do still want to pick this pot up, so
I'll do it.
that'll take another turn.
You have my trust.
Over here?
Consider it done. Time to go. Your plan.
Yeah, well, this'll be fine.
Why not?
We have plenty of extra turns to work with here
Understood.
anyway.
You have my trust.
And I think we one-shot her pretty easily. Yep. It's fun seeing all of those units at +10 though. That's a lot of grails too. Anyway, on to the next one. So, this one's going to be much more interesting. Honestly, just to puzzle out than the last couple have been. They've got an interesting trap set up with this almost maxed Eremiya, Odd Recovery, and the Ground Order's Peony, and the Bernadetta. This looks... it's a little odd to me because Eremiya is actually, if I'm understanding this right, will actually heal everything that Bernadetta hits except for Saros. So Saros should be the only one she can heal, and then she'll get danced, which actually stops this rally from happening at all. But I guess we'll see. They've also got a +10 Hilda, who's very impressive here, and a +10 Ninja Hana, who's also very impressive. And of course Saros with the tactics, and Leaf with his rally. So, the hope here is that I figured this out properly, and if I have, we should actually be able to knock Eremiya out on this first turn. This is going to require a little bit of
Your desire.
I won't lose.
running around just to make sure that we get everyone into their positions for the first turn.
I'll do it.
You have my trust. Your plan.
And then we say go. And she should get danced and move into attack. Alright, one threat down. Oh, this works out very well. So from here, the obvious move looks like using Edelgard to one-shot Hilda. But I have a different plan in mind, and it involves knocking this leaf out with her before he has a chance to become a problem. So what I'm actually going to do is use Edelgard to bonk Hilda. It doesn't quite finish her off, but that's okay. And then I'm actually going to let Reagan finish Hilda off.
I'm going to stop you.
And what this does is it panics Hana, so from here... Okay, I actually made a small mistake by planting Reagan here, but it should be okay because Aerobatics lets Naga flip Edelgard up here anyway. We're going to knock Hana out. The panic made it much easier to do. And then Legendary Edelgard can knock out Peony. From here, we can knock out Saros. And then we can also take one swing at Leaf, which doesn't quite knock him out. But we still have one action left with our other Edelgard, and that's more than enough to finish him off. I'm not worried about Fatal Smoke since Legendary Edelgard can't heal anyway.
I'll do it.
With utter certainty.
Close your
And from
eyes.
here, Legendary Edelgard should be able to tank Bernadetta pretty easily. She doesn't get panicked, and, well, she doesn't have a res buff to get panicked anyway.
Trust.
Let's see if we can smite... No, let's just put it here. Okay, so that one's the real trap. Oh, and Bernadetta's being very considerate. She's going to stay in her house and let us keep her there.
Your plan.
And from here, it's very easy to just pick these pots up and close out the match.
What is your desire?
What? Consider it done.
Over here? Why not?
You have my trust. With utter certainty.
And just have Edelgard pick up the pot,
Yes.
and Fallen Edelgard close out the match. That was a fun match. I wasn't actually sure exactly how things would play out after the first turn, so I'm glad it turned out well. On to the next one. So, this is not what I would call a standard Legendary Sigurd layout. Mostly just because this one isn't actually running Quickened Pulse, so not having this pre-charged is... well, it's fairer than most Sigurds run. But the other problem with this is that they've actually blocked off this front lane, which means that Sigurd can't actually reach anything until the player opens a hole in this wall. They do have several pretty significant ranged threats between this +10 Reinhardt. It's very spooky, along with this +1 Lilina, who's in season and getting an extra 6 attack from these mythics. It's an interesting setup overall. I don't know about it. I do think that without a second dancer and a hole in the wall for Sigurd to actually move through, it's a little hard to make it work well. But with all that said, I'm going to be quite happy to dismantle this because it's a legendary Sigurd setup.
Yes.
And it gives me an excuse to show off Felix as well as an answer to this. I'm actually going to open a hole in the wall because I'm not too worried about Sigurd.
Out of my way.
The dance is always going to get used on Cirrus right away, so there's no chance of him actually making it into
With utter certainty.
our team on the first turn.
Over here?
And I'm setting this up to let us bait both Reinhardt and Lilina into Felix on this first turn. And we'll move on from there. Yep. And I've actually positioned Felix out of the way of her AoE, so she doesn't actually threaten Felix at all. And then Reinhardt just, yeah. Can't get much done to this.
Do I look merry?
So from here, we're going to take advantage of the Galeforce to help clean things up now that the fight's been started. And while I haven't gotten to tank Sigurd with Naga,
Consider it done.
that should be alright, since Thracier can actually just one-shot this Thracier on the defense tile. Or Edelgard can do it, sorry.
It will be
And
done.
that's our first
Close your
Galeforce.
eyes.
Naga can get danced, and thanks to
What
her
is your
acrobatics,
desire?
she can jump forward and knock out Sigurd. And we actually get to one-shot him here, which is nice. Wasn't expecting to, but I won't complain about it.
Out of my way.
Then Edelgard can finish off this Sigurd.
What?
And then we can swap Naga to safety.
Yeah.
And we can just get Reagan over here. Yeah, that's fine.
If I have to.
And from here it should be a pretty straightforward clear. Even if Sarah survives here, and I think she will, thanks to Dragonwall. It's not like she really gets a whole lot done. So the Wings of Mercy swap was actually a little annoying, but it's okay.
Out of my
We
way.
can still one-shot Duma thanks to Dragon effectiveness. And from here, we'll just move Edelgard up one space,
It will be done.
flip Reagan up a tile,
I won't
have
lose.
Reagan flip Edelgard, and move up here to get ready to take this Aether pot.
Why not?
We can dance Naga, who can
Yes.
pick up this Aether pot, and just wait for the next turn. And from here it's very straightforward.
Out of my way.
Oh, I'll do it.
And we have Edelgard finish off Ceres to
What?
finish the fight. How fitting. There we go. That wasn't so bad. It was not what I would call an optimal Sigurd setup, but it's still fun to beat one. On to the next one. So, This is like a slightly more refined version of the defense that I ran into yesterday. Once again featuring legendary Sigurd in his usual dense trap with his duo version. This time the Lillian is also running a lull and double life and death for 80 visible attack, which is pretty high up there. I've also got this Selena. Windsweep and Blade Session are actually very annoying on her right now. It's just because it lets her beat Felix on the Windsweep check by about 4 speed, which is why I'm not using Felix for this. And that's only really a problem because it would mean that if I figured this out properly, Mirabilis would actually end up getting to dance Selena, and I'd have to leave one person out of Felix's save range. So it would get messy. I've also got the Wings of Mercy, Saros, and Duma, just for extra threats in case something doesn't die and doesn't actually knock something out, which seems unlikely with these two. If they get hit back, they're going to get knocked out almost immediately. Oh, no, you're here. Alright, so this should actually be pretty straightforward, just because we can actually dodge this turn 1 engagement, assuming Sigurd is the one who moves up here. And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have it set up for that. He'll cover a little bit longer of a threat range, but not enough to actually
What?
activate the map, since we have 3 open spaces to work with down here. So
Time to go.
I'm going to open
Consider
things
it
up a
done.
little bit.
Yes.
What is your
Use our
desire?
Baddox to get down here.
Over here?
I'm going to flip the Maria and have Reagan run back
Oh,
here
I'll
and
do it.
just scooch into the corner. Yep. And nothing's in range, so the rally doesn't happen. I'm going
Your
to take
plan.
one more turn just to open this up, and then we can say go. And now that we've got
Out of my way.
Fallen Edelgard transformed
Understood.
and legendary Edelgard with her stride active,
You have my trust.
we can smite Edelgard forward,
Time to go.
and she can take out Mirabilis without any problems.
Your
And
plan.
then she can also take out Selena very easily. Now from here it looks a little tricky to make this work, just because Edelgard only has one action and Fallen Edelgard doesn't have Stride, and she's very far away from the front of this fight.
Close your
But
eyes.
a little
Yes.
bit of creative maneuvering
With utter certainty.
Time to go.
Legendary Edelgard can flip Fallen Edelgard
What?
up this way, which gives her access to the next few victims.
Yes.
And since Cirrus isn't even using Dragon Wall,
Out of
it's
my
very
way.
easy to knock her out. Now, the reason I'm so confident in this is that Edelgard shouldn't actually knock Sigurd out, but he also shouldn't get a whole lot of damage done to her, and Duma should just get himself knocked out against her after that. Which gives us enough time to pick the pots up and close out the match after that.
I won't lose.
Yep.
On your guard.
This does apply Fatal Smoke, which is a little annoying, but Edelgard doesn't really need to heal to survive the rest of this turn.
What?
Very good. So
Over
from
here?
here we just pick pots up
Understood. Yes.
and close out the match. It's very satisfying to beat these teams. On to the next one. So, this one's a rematch and will be my third legendary Sigurd match in a row. I actually picked this one out mostly just because, well, on top of being a rematch, I saw the legendary Sigurd and I figured I could use more practice dealing with him. This one's an interesting sort of setup. I don't know if it's the best way to do it. Usually, you don't want Sigurd to get baited or be able to be baited forward instead of rallying first. Ceres is in their bonus slots, so there's no dense traps involved there, and they've basically turned this into a bit of a cav line. Although, planting this here does stop Leaf from being able to access that front line right away, which is a bit of an odd decision. They've also got this Triangle Adept Lancebreaker Olwen, who is very, very targeted at Brave Hectors, probably Farsave Hectors specifically. And this bonus week Lara Shaw is pretty threatening too. And then the bonus week Duma in the back, both of them with Wings of Mercy just to help them catch up. That's pretty spooky. I don't think I'm going to have too many problems with this one though. Mostly because we're finally going to get to show off Naga, just taking the Sigurd with Felix screening her from behind. I am going to make sure that I debuff Olwen's attack though, because Triangle Adept is a little bit much for a blue to deal with.
I'll do it.
We'll swap Felix here, make sure he's fully buffed.
What is
I'm
your
not.
desire?
I'm actually deliberately avoiding fully buffing Naga's defense, since if her defense is too high, Sigurd would actually rally before we...
Yes.
He'd even though he can do damage with his special, he'd still prefer to rally. And that would be a problem.
You
Alright,
have my
here they
trust.
go. Oh, I guess
There is nothing
Lara
to fear.
Shaw healed instead of attacking. That's odd. Oh, that's right, because she had Restore and couldn't... Well, that makes everything
For the
much easier.
children of man.
A bit of a shame, since it means she's not going to be knocked out at the start of this turn, but that's okay. Olwen gets to do a chunk, but again, I'm not too worried about her.
Here, take this.
And Leaf gets to attack too, but once again, you can't do enough.
This is your name on it.
Okay, and from here I'm going to let Edelgard take over and clean things up.
I won't lose.
Let's see. Yep. This should be fine.
Yes.
We'll move her up here
Close
Dance
your
her.
eyes.
from this side.
If I have to.
We can swap Felix up
What
and
is your
reposition
desire?
Altina.
Consider it
Can
done.
smite Edelgard forward. Oh, and there's a gravity trap on top.
Out of
How
my
helpful.
way.
And we'll smack down Mirabilis.
What?
Let's see. Oh, good, we don't one-shot Duma.
Out of my way.
We can one-shot Saros and Lara Shaw, though, which is very good. And since Doom is losing this movement buff at the start of the turn, I don't have to worry about Plumeria.
Yes.
And Duma survives, which is good for us. Because I do want to pick these pots up. So from here we just want to pick these up before the end of the fight, and since we've already found the right gravity trap, we can start by knocking that one out.
You have my
I'm
trust.
gonna have Altina break this,
Over here?
which will let Reagan break this and move up here.
What?
We can move Edelgard back a space. Duma will heal, but I'm not
Why not?
too worried about that.
With utter certainty.
Oh, that's rude. Well, since he did end up chasing Reagan, we're going to have to take one more turn so that we can reach
I
this
won't
pot.
lose.
A little unfortunate, but it's fine.
I'll deliver.
Okay, and from here we can just pick this
You
up.
have my trust.
Yeah.
Out of my way.
And finish off Duma. It's good to beat another Sigurd squad. So far I've gotten all of them, which is nice. Alright, on to the next one. This match should be an interesting one. It's another rematch against someone on the Discord, actually, who ran into me earlier this week. They've got a pretty solid team here, even without Sarah's. Hollywood's always very solid, honestly. He's held up really well over time, ever since he got this refine. And the Ward and Goad stacking is actually very good at helping to keep someone from trying to just initiate on turn 1 between Lyn, Eliud, and Reinhardt. The Fire Sweet Poison Strike is also a really good combo for breaking down tanks that would normally try to plonk. And the Wings of Mercy Leaf is a good way to try and jump in and pick something off. There's also 2 Dancers, who can always get things done, honestly. With 2 of them you can dodge isolation pretty easily, and yeah. I don't think we're going to have too many problems with this. I'm going to start just by
What is your
breaking
desire?
this Panic Manor, which
I'll do it.
could be a bit
will be
of
done.
annoying to deal with,
You have my trust.
the way we're
Yes.
planning to approach this.
Over here?
And we'll wait a turn. Which lets Fallen Edelgard get all of her buffs online.
What?
We'll move her over,
What is your desire?
not get out of the way,
Close your eyes.
dance her,
Consider
and
it done.
push her forward.
Out of my way.
Then we just barely have enough damage to one-shot Reinhardt. But once he's out of the way,
What?
Peony is a very easy second knockout.
Yes.
And we can take Eliud out of the way as well. Just to avoid any rally Galeforce nonsense. And I'm going to move
Understood.
Edelgard here. Even though she doesn't get to keep Aimer active, she should still bait Lyn forward. Which gets her out of range of Mirabilis' dance, and makes sure that everyone else stays safe. And well, Leaf is not having a good time over here. from here things should be pretty easy to clean up. Edelgard
What?
can pick up this pot, while
Time
the
to go.
other Edelgard cleans up Lynn.
Yeah.
And Mirabilis can't knock Reagan out, which is good. We're going to
Why
actually
not?
just bait her with
Understood.
Plumeria for a turn,
Oh, I'll do it.
Your plan.
Over
which will
here?
let us pick this second pot up. Alright.
I won't lose.
Then we break the pot, move it over, and I don't know if this bolt trap is real, but even if it is, we can just dance Edelgard and finish her off
Time
like
to
that.
go.
So. Oh, and it's not real. There we go. Nice clean finish to the week. It was a good week overall. We ran into several Sigurd setups and managed to beat all of them, which I'm glad, honestly. I expect that defense setup to be fairly common going forward, and it'll be interesting to see if people are using it outside of win seasons. But especially after next week, when we probably get a Dark Mythic, we'll probably start seeing those in both seasons going forward. So it's good to get some practice with them and figure out how to pick them apart before they become too widespread. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video, good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.